It is the award-winning Go Show with Mike Russell. I'm your host, Mike Russell. We can be found anywhere on Facebook.com/The Go Show with Mike Russell and on Instagram at The Go Show with Mike Russell. YouTube, Go Outdoors with Mike Russell, where you will be able to see someone who doesn't have a face for radio like me, Becky Bouquot. She is one of the directors of Wildlife for Tomorrow, and I am so excited to tell everybody about Wildlife for Tomorrow because, I've been trying to be as involved as I possibly can with Wildlife for Tomorrow. So let's start with this, Becky, if we could. It's a fact that I've talked about on this show several times that your Arizona Game and Fish Department does not receive a dollar from the general tax fund in the state of Arizona, and they are tasked with managing population levels of 800, I believe, 60 some odd species of animal, and only 60 of those are actual game species. So they actually have a lot more to do than just manage hunts and draws and things like that. They need funding. Wildlife for Tomorrow was created to help with that funding. How far off am I on that?
Right on. That's completely correct. And since 1990, actually, that's when Wildlife for Tomorrow popped into existence to just expand the Arizona Game and Fish Department's mission.
Okay. And so how does that look? So the 501c3 that Wildlife for Tomorrow is, you do fundraisers, events, and things like that. And then Game and Fish says, we have something that we need to do, and it's not in our normal budget. Wildlife for Tomorrow, can you donate that money so we can, or actually run this, and we'll help you however it works out? Is that for what kind of what kind of programs are like that with Wildlife for Tomorrow?
Yeah, so that's exactly, you nailed it right there. So where traditional resources are not adequate. So Wildlife for Tomorrow comes in, and the Arizona Game and Fish Department has given us some pillars of priority projects that we're fundraising for. I'm happy to go over those with you right now. So for an example.
Absolutely, please do.
Yeah. So the 4 key areas which Wildlife for Tomorrow helps to advance the work of the department is an outdoor heritage. So that's one of our pillars, and that's connecting people to the outdoors. So we have some shooting range projects, recreational access projects that we're working to fundraise for. Another pillar is wildlife education, learning about wildlife. And we are fundraising for some wildlife center projects and wildlife camera projects. Another core area is the wildlife resources. So conserving our wildlife resources with fish hatchery projects and habitat enhancement projects. And then finally is just getting involved, building and supporting important volunteer and stewardship programs for the department.
Now, we got most of that. When you say wildlife camera programs, are we putting GoPros on hawks and getting like cool viral videos? What is that? What is the wildlife camera programs that Wildlife for Tomorrow is doing so much to help the Game and Fish Department fund?
So that's through their watchable wildlife program. So the live wildlife cams that are set up where you can go in virtually and watch. For an example, just an owl and breeding season and all of that. So you can go in, it's a great education component. People can tap in, watch the owl throughout the day or throughout the season. And it brings a lot of awareness, and it's a great opportunity for just all wildlife lovers to learn about the different species that we have here in Arizona.
What about watching the wildlife watching program? Because here's what happened. And I asked that question knowing that I wanted our listeners to know what that was. I was on, where was I? I think I was at Lake Pleasant. And there was one of the bald eagle nests with the camera, like the one that everyone was watching apparently at some point. I don't know what lake I was on, but we were so just enthralled watching the camera that was watching the nest, we almost crashed the dang boat. So yes, I think this is one of the coolest things, that if you can find that, if you can go online and find that, those cameras are so super cool. And you just think, come on, it's government. They got all this money. It's, we have a balanced budget. We got all this CARES Act money. We got all this COVID dough. Okay, that's going to government divisions, but not necessarily to the Game and Fish Department, which is probably the most important government agency we have in Arizona. Because if you like trees, if you like cactus, if you like any animal, if you like the bunnies running around in your neighborhood, if you like to see the javelina that are cruising through your neighborhood, it's all because Game and Fish is doing their job with all of the other species as well. And they need that kind of funding. And that's where Wildlife for Tomorrow steps in. But you guys do some fun stuff. It's not just here, you give us some money. It's you guys have a celebrity wing shoot once a year, which is just an absolute blast. But you do events throughout the year that help raise money, right?
We do. And of course, with COVID this year, some of our events were impacted, I know, but very optimistic and excited for next year and just, building our community stronger. And I think you really nailed it when you were talking about, it's not just the sportsmen and women in Arizona, it's everyone. It's the hikers, it's the bird watchers, it's the kayakers, anglers, the ones who just are sitting on their back patio watching the sunset. I mean, this is Arizona, and it's beautiful and very, very important to keep it that way for our future generations. And I think that's where Wildlife for Tomorrow comes in, because it's that collaborative effort between all of these people who love Arizona, and just a great organization.
It is. And I want to go back to that. I want people to understand this, especially when we talk about funding. So when sportsmen and women, we're buying ammunition, we're buying firearms, we're buying fishing equipment and the like, that is where the majority of conservation funding comes from in this nation with the Pittman-Robertson Act. And we've talked about this on the show a lot, so I'm not going to bore you with those details again, except I will take the advantage of saying Dingle Johnson Act, because I'm a child and I think that's funny. So it's important to know that the hikers, the trail runners, the people on the ATVs, they contribute a little bit with the tax funds that they pay in registration and the like. But if you're just out there hiking and you want to be able to contribute as well, you want to be able to kick in like the sportsmen, say, hey, why do those guys get all the credit? Those guys with the guns and going out and shooting animals. Why are they getting? I want to get up on this too. Let's talk about ways to give to Wildlife for Tomorrow. And apparently, and I didn't even know this, Arizona has a giving day. What's that all about? We
do. We have Arizona Gives Day. And it's a great opportunity for those people who just love our state and diversity and our wildlife resources to give back. And it's it's actually, early giving has already started, but Arizona Gives Day is on April 6th. And Wildlife for Tomorrow is participating. This is actually our first year participating in the event. And it's just, a great opportunity to get more involved in our organization and give back to Arizona.
And understand this, you've been for a year now, you've been supporting local, you've been buying local, you've been trying to get to the small businesses. When you can't get to a restaurant, you've been trying to help them keep their doors open with limited capacity. You've been doing this for a year. So if you think about anything that you could give to our way of life, our outdoor way of life, given this beautiful outdoor playground of a state that we live in, you have the opportunity to do this right now. Or if you want to wait till April 6th, because you just want to be a part of the Cool Kids Club and you want to do it on Arizona Gives Day. Give me the title again.
Arizona Gives, yes.
Arizona Gives Day. Okay. If you want to do that, that's fine too. But I mean, just like, $50, what you would spend going out to a local restaurant, or what you would spend out going to a local brewery or something like that. Just give to conservation and say, look, I've done my part. So when slappies like me get up in your face and go, hey, I know you don't like hunting, but guess what? We fund all the conservation. You go, well, guess what, Slappy? I do too.
Exactly.
Is there a minimum amount they have to give?
No, I was even telling friends, hey, what are you going to spend in coffee today? You're going to go to your coffee shop, make your coffee and throw your coffee money on Arizona Gives for Wildlife for Tomorrow.
But here at iHeart, they pay me in coffee, so it's okay. So I'll have to go with a different. How about what I would spend in beer that day? I will go ahead and give gladly. How about we'll put it that way? So how do we give? How do we do it?
Yeah. So there's a couple ways. And also too, I feel like I should mention, you don't just have to give on Arizona Gives Day. You can give back to Arizona any day, and you can give back to wildlife any day by going to our website. We have the ability to donate that way. And you can read a little bit more about our specific projects that we are fundraising for. But what did you ask me again? I'm so sorry.
How do we give money to you?
Oh, okay. Go to Arizona Gives Day. You can find the organization by putting Wildlife for Tomorrow in there. You can donate that way. You can actually create your own fundraiser for the organization, and you can share that privately or publicly on social. And you can also go to our website at wildlifefortomorrow.org.
wildlifefortomorrow.org. You got to check it out because it's doing great, great things. Here's the deal. You might have heard Becky Bouquot's voice in the past as the lead of the Gaggle of Awesomeness. I'm going to keep you through the break because I want to talk to you about your journey into this and into shotgunning as well. So very excited about that. That's coming up next right here on The Go Show. Stay tight. And this is The Go Show. Thank you for hanging out with us. I am your host, Mike Russell. We celebrate all things outdoors in this beautiful outdoor playground of the state that we live in. Continuing with Becky Bouquot, one of the directors of Wildlife for Tomorrow. If you don't know what Wildlife for Tomorrow is, you've got to check them out. Get over to wildlifefortomorrow.org and see what they're all about. They are one of the organizations, if not the organization, that has a sole mission of helping to fund on-the-ground conservation efforts for your Arizona Game and Fish Department. They do a lot of great stuff with kids. It is just absolutely fantastic. And if you want to get involved and start giving as well, Arizona Gives Day is coming up. Tell us about that, Becky Bouquot.
Yes, so Arizona Gives Day is on April 6th. It's a great way to learn more information about the organization and give back to Arizona, so future generations can enjoy this beautiful state just as much as we do today. It's
the beautiful outdoor playground of a state that we live in. See,
it is.
I got to get it on a shirt somehow. I got to make that thing happen. But you were known here in the show. You've been a part of this show for years and years and years. You have been known as the head of the Gaggle of Awesomeness. I want to talk to you about that, your steps into that world. Now, I know you have a biology background. You worked in conservation for a very long time. What was that aha moment that I can do something, I can take this to another level? And I mean, we start with Mesquite if you want to, wherever you want to start, you go.
Oh, well, thank you. I've loved being on your show over the years. It's one of my favorite shows. So this is no, but for 10 years, I actually worked in the environmental protection field and kind of hiked around the state, collected water quality samples for scientific analysis. So always been very outdoorsy. But in 2013 is really when I got connected with Wildlife for Tomorrow and education. So I kind of took a turn and went into the education field. And through Mesquite Wildlife Oasis, which is a great opportunity that we're taking kids outside to this outdoor classroom. We're teaching them about wildlife, kind of connecting them to the outdoors. And that's kind of where my passion with this whole wildlife and game and fish and Wildlife for Tomorrow really kind of emerged, and understanding how everything is connected in this field. You know, being 10 years in environmental protection, I was kind of hugging the trees a little bit. Not that anything's wrong with it, but it was, and it was very focused. And when I could step back and look at conservation like on a holistic approach, that's when I had my little aha moment. And I realized everyone in this community is valuable and equally important, because you need the science to scientifically manage species and habitats. You need the education component, and you need the outdoorsmen to help fund everything. So that, I guess that would be my aha moment, when I realized that I could still hug trees and give back to wildlife conservation.
Well, I think in seeing that balance is fantastic, because I'll use John Odell, for the small game biologist for your Arizona Game and Fish Department, as an example, because I never really saw the two cross. I knew what sportsmen did, and I knew what sportswomen did, and I knew what anglers did. I understood that in their role in conservation. And then I met John Odell, who's on the science side of that, an insanely intelligent man. And I met him and started chatting with him, and talking about all of his outdoor adventures and all of his hunting and his small game cooking and all. And I'm like, wait a second. Wow. Okay. They're all together. Like, this is like, you can be a scientist and love to be a hunter. You can also be a hunter and be a tree hugger as well. That's it. You can do both, because it all fits into the big stew of conservation.
It does. It does. And my passion really has been with kids because I feel like they're just naturally curious, and this is a great time to grab them and show them how cool, science is and the outdoors is, because, those are our future. That's our future generation. And as you've mentioned many times, we need those kids to become lovers of wildlife so they can financially support and protect Arizona.
And you do a great job at Mesquite. And then you also have, which Wildlife for Tomorrow is involved with as well, and the Game and Fish Department. You also have, and I know we had COVID, this whole thing happened, it just squashed that last summer. But you have a summer camp that you put on that is absolutely, it's hard to even explain how cool this thing is, because you get to watch kids just light up and catch their first fish and shoot their first gun and shoot their first arrow and learn about different conservation areas. It's absolutely amazing. Tell us about that. And then when are you planning on doing that? Next year, hopefully, we're talking about? What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that would be the goal here. Unfortunately, like you said, COVID, we've had to cancel it this summer. But the summer camp is great, and it's really designed for kids to come in and experience outdoor recreation and conservation and science, in hopes that they would take the next step to furthering that love for whether it's shooting sports, fishing, kayaking, or just wildlife biology in general. It's a great opportunity to kind of get their feet wet in this.
Or whole body wet in some kayaking incidents.
Right. Oh, yes, we've had a few of those.
Yeah, in a whopping, I think, what is it, a 3-foot deep lake? I mean, it's not like it's that big. But I forgot about the kayaking part of that. That's absolutely fantastic. And you guys have all the gear for them. And let's be honest, the parents, like, for a day, for like an entire week, just drop the kids off. Like, in the middle of summer. I think that's where there's weight in gold. I know the conservation element, and I know the getting them young element. I totally get that. But for a parent to go in the middle of summer, I don't have any kids in this house, that is absolutely glorious. So now I want to get into it. Because when you and I met long time ago, it was guns. Yeah, you were one of those, and you knew you were.
No.
Yes, you were. And this is I use you as an example so many times, because you are one of my most liberal friends, and you and I have the most wonderful conversations. No, I love it. And you and I have wonderful conversations because we want to understand each other, and we're friends. There's no way we're going to battle it out. So we've had great conversations because of that. And then you started to tiptoe into, hey, let me try this clay shooting thing. And I was at that event, and I watched you just become mildly obsessed. And I thought that was one of the coolest things. Tell me about that whole transition.
Yes, definitely have created a monster there, because I love it. And I was never like anti-guns or anything. Like, that was never, I wasn't educated enough. And
I didn't mean to portray it that way.
Okay.
It was, you were just like, okay, whatever, you're a gun guy, kind of thing. It wasn't I can't believe you have a gun, you should never have a gun. I did not mean to portray it that way.
Okay. No.
See, this is how we communicate.
Yes. But just, I needed someone to help me take that first step. I mean, my dad had firearms growing up, and the boyfriends always went out shooting those guns with him. Like, I never made it out on those trips. And so just a lack of knowledge in that whole area. And understanding how it's all related to conservation, I felt like it was important for me to get out there and experience it and kind of see what the big hoopla is about firearms. And I love it. I love it so much. I got my first shotgun for Christmas, and
which is tell me.
It's a CZ 20 gauge.
What's up?
Yeah.
And is what style of shotgun is it?
Like, okay. Oh my goodness, it's an over-under.
It's an over-under. That's fantastic. I mean, you basically, that is a sexy firearm, is what that is. That is just a classic, beautiful firearm that isn't just, I got myself a plastic stock, pump shotgun or whatever. I mean, you got the ones that you go really hunting with. So that's fantastic. But you weren't into hunting, you were into clay shooting, and you were just loving it every minute, right?
Loving it. Absolutely loving it. And I mean, any opportunity I get, I'd love to go to the range, and I'm just learning, and I feel good because I'm like, I'm out here shooting clays, conserving
Yeah.
wildlife.
It's therapeutic, is it not? And every trigger pull, you're like, that was fun and a donation to wildlife.
That's how I view it. I know
Yeah.
that's a little bit, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's fun, but it's cool that you keep trying new things. And that's what we keep trying to encourage everyone to do. Just try new things. I'm not saying run out and get a gun. I'm saying that if you know somebody like Becky that is getting into the shooting sports and loves it, just go along. You don't even have to touch a firearm. Just go along and see what it's all about and just check it. If it's for you, cool. If it's not, right, no harm, no foul, right?
Right. For my 40th birthday, I had all of my girlfriends come out there and join me. And it was so much fun. And yeah, Ben Avery, oh my goodness, I was a little bit intimidated at first. I was like, oh, I've never done this before. They were awesome. Like the people on site, they came, helped me with my form and my stance. So I'm excited. I just want to keep on going any opportunity I can.
And you better. Becky Bouquot, one of the directors of Wildlife for Tomorrow. Arizona Gives Day is coming up on April 6th, but you can start giving now. Get over to wildlifefortomorrow.org. And we want to thank you and that entire organization for just doing all of the stuff that you do. It's just endless. You guys are fantastic, and we'll help you get the word out.
Thank you, Mike, very much.
All right, coming up next, we kick off the second hour of each and every show with the outdoor headlines of the day. It's coming up next right here on The Go Show. Stay right there.